Greetings from San Jose, California, as the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show is broadcasting from the glorious San Jose Garden Hotel here in San Jose. We really put the emphasis on glorious here. I'm Glenn Moore, joined here by my co-host Steve Guy. We're going to recap our WrestleMania weekend with a whole four or 5 days of professional wrestling out here in California. And we're going to recap what we experienced, who we met, who we talked to, who we ran into, who we seen around the hotel here, around the courtyard. So we're going to talk about that as well. And on Wednesday, we will recap WrestleMania. We will recap Raw. That will be our recap show of what transpired in the ring at WrestleMania and on Raw. This is more of our experience here. We're going to play a couple interviews for you, which is sponsored by Weber Grill. You can download the Weber Grill app and on your iPhone or Google Play, and you can find mouth-watering recipes and guides on tips and techniques for using your grill. Information will be delivered to your device weekly, and you are guaranteed to keep the fire burning. Go to Weber.com for more details. Now, we want to thank Weber Grill for sponsoring our interviews, because without them, these interviews are not possible. And today's show, we're going to have Mike the Miz Benzanin, Cleveland's own The Miz, on the show. And we will have Bo Dallas on the show as well. So those two interviews right here on this week's show. But, Steve, we're sitting here in sunny California, nice sun. We got ourselves a nice little tan.
I was going to say, you had yet to say sunny at all during this moment. And not to brag, but it was nice to get out of Cleveland and into some sunshine. We walked around. We came here. We landed in San Francisco day one on Thursday, and immediately we did some sightseeing. And that was the one thing that Glenn and I kept saying. What is this? What's this light coming from the sky?
Yeah,
we're not used to
this warmth. My skin isn't used to it. But yeah, it was nice to change it into shorts, and we're not trying to, for all our Cleveland listeners, not trying to rub it in your face. But it was nice to get off the plane and take off your layers of Cleveland clothing and put on some shorts and a T-shirt and walk around in some nice weather, especially along the bay here. So it was real nice to get into San Francisco. My first time there, seeing the sights. A lot of wrestling fans walking around. You could tell by their shirts, exploring the city. And we got to see the Full House house.
We saw the Full House. Which is, if you saw our pictures, if you follow us on Twitter or Instagram, the Steve Guy or Glenmore CLE, yes, the Full House does look different. The new owners have painted it. They let the shrubbery grow in front, but that is still the Full House. We saw the Mrs. Doubtfire house.
Yes.
We got to take pictures and see the Golden Gate Bridge. We did Alcatraz. Got to see it from afar. We didn't get to do the tour.
Yeah. Time
constraints and whatnot. Fisherman's Wharf, Pier 39. Kind of an internationally known area there, kind of a cool hot spot. That was a lot of fun. I got some oysters. Glenn, you got some sushi right there by the bay?
Yes.
It was delicious.
Beautiful view, by the way.
Oh, yeah. What else? We took in, we got to walk around the outside there of AT&T Stadium, or ballpark, where the Giants play.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. That's if you've never seen the stadium, or San Francisco in general, they did a great job of building that stadium to represent the whole area. Like, it looks like it belongs. Like, there's a lot of older buildings right there. It's new, but it looks kind of older, like with the others, with the brick and everything in McCovey Cove.
Yes. It was real nice just to walk around. Like, I've been to, that's my 22nd ballpark out of the, I believe it's a 30 or 32 of them. So I've been to almost more than half. So it was nice to cross one off the list, but an amazing ballpark. And then we made our trek down a 2-hour train ride from San Fran to San Jose, checked in the hotel.
Which was eventful in itself.
Yeah, it was a very, very eventful. We get to our hotel, and we are staying at the hotel where WrestleCon is being held. And there are tons of wrestlers here. WrestleCon is a 3-day event here where they have people doing interviews. They have people doing interviews for like podcasts, like Hogamana's doing his podcast here. People doing autograph sessions, pictures, of course, with a fee. But so we check in and we realize that we are staying a few doors down from a man, and Steve, I'll let you do because you're the one that discovered this.
Yes. So, a couple of people getting settled in. You see the fans already checking on who's here, kind of gathering and whatnot. And I walk in to our building. There's like 5 buildings here. And I walk into our door, and I'm walking down the hall, and here comes this large man with huge biceps eating an apple. And as he takes the apple away from his face, I notice the gray goatee with a dyed patch of black, and oh my goodness, there he is, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner himself. And I didn't want to totally fanboy out, so I just said, "Hey, they're all waiting for you out there." And then it was great. It was as if he knew it, and he was like, "Oh, where are they? The lobby?" I said, "They're everywhere."
And I have
great.
And so we spent the remainder of the weekend randomly yelling Steiner down the hallway in hopes that he would poke his head out, because I was not going to pay $20 for a photo with Scott Steiner. If Scott's down the hall listening to this, hopefully he doesn't come in.
By the way, he's in incredible shape still.
Oh, he's in great shape. The one thing about Scott Steiner, too, before we move on, is that Scott Steiner, there was a photo making the rounds of the internet at the security desk at the arena for the Hall of Fame. Scott Steiner was on the. They were on the lookout for Scott Steiner. He was not allowed in the building. It was funny that they used his photo with his glasses on, and then they used an actual in-ring photo of him with his shirt off, like he's going to walk in with no shirt on into the Hall of Fame. So it was very interesting to see that photo, but Steiner was not invited to the Hall of Fame. But like we said, and then the next day we're walking around here, and we're walking to get some dinner, I believe, and we're walking through the courtyard, which is a great courtyard here, and we see a man being wheeled in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And we get close, and we realize that it's Lex Luger being wheeled in the wheelchair. He said hello. We didn't stop. We just kind of sulked because it's like, wow, Lex Luger.
He said, "Hey, guys, how are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
We're good. We're doing great, Lex. Thank you.
He kept being wheeled, and then we're continuing to walk, and I noticed there's a little small guy with glasses and a backpack with one of the WrestleCon handlers, and it's Rey Mysterio walking by us.
Which, side note, I meant to tell you, while I was waiting for my lift yesterday, he was checking out. Got to see him again.
Did he need phone books to look over the front desk of the hotel?
No. He was somebody gave him a private ride to the airport there. He was headed home. Again, Lex Luger was Friday. Friday was an eventful day in itself.
Yeah.
We were, I was here at the hotel, spotted a friend of the show as I walked out of the hotel room attempting to exercise in our fitness center of sorts, which, if you follow me on Instagram, I found a cigarette butt in the elliptical, so that was awesome.
That's where Scott Hall was working on it.
Yeah, but I walked out, and right outside of our building at the vending machine, friend of the show, Cleveland's own Johnny Gargano. His girlfriend Candace was here. She was part of WrestleCon doing some signings and whatnot, and that was Friday. Learned from Johnny that he was going to take part in a show. He was here all weekend. He was at a show the night before and on Friday, which we were joined by former Cleveland newscaster and a good friend of mine, Chris Van Vliet, who a lot of the local wrestling fans may know for his interviews. And then it was us and Van Vliet, and we said, you know what, let's go see Johnny's show and support him. He was at a WWN show. Evolve was the name of it. And before we get to that actual show, which was phenomenal, Glenn, you had a first-time experience on the way to that show.
In and Out. And no, it was not with one of the local ladies here. It was with, actually, In and Out Burger. We took a Uber to there, and we had my first In and Out Burger. It was an amazing experience.
We wore the hats for you.
We wore the hats, took a photo and everything. So we did the whole 9 yards when it comes to In and Out. So that was a nice little pre-show dinner because it was a long show.
Did you enjoy the burger?
Yes, it was great. I enjoyed the shake as well. It was packed.
Oh, those shakes were phenomenal.
It was packed, and it was as good as advertised. So I'm glad we did that. We enjoyed some authentic California food.
Yeah. So then we go to the Evolve show, and of course we chatted with Johnny for a little bit. It's a good time there. Sadness at first after we talked to Johnny, took a picture with him. Then we said, "Hey, let's get in the beer line." They're sold out of beer, so that was immediate.
Before the show even started.
Immediate emergency. They did get more. That's fine. But an awesome show itself. The show is headlined by PJ Black. And if you don't recognize that name, perhaps you would recognize the name Justin Gabriel, which is who he performed as in WWE. He headlined the match with Ricochet and the rapper Wale. It was there, cheering them on, making an appearance. That was an awesome match. A lot of high-flying action in that one. A lot of cool stuff. Ricochet making reference to PJ Black having the handcuffs off and being able to really perform and do stuff. Just excellent there. The show opened, though, with Drew Galloway.
Yes.
If you don't recognize that last name, he is performing on TNA right now as Drew Galloway. But, of course, WWE fans, you would most notably known him as a former member of the three-man band, Drew McIntyre.
We realized that we talked to two members of the three-man band this weekend?
We did, yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, that was a good match that we saw right there.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing him
versus Uha Nation was
Uha Nation. Yes.
Uha Nation signed with NXT WWE. He will be reporting to NXT. I think after this weekend they're reporting. So that was nice to see Uha Nation, a guy that is going to make a big impact at NXT. Make his final, I think one of his final indie appearances before he goes to NXT. So
he was impressive.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Uha. I haven't seen him. I've never seen Uha Nation via YouTube or live, and the guy has that Bobby Lashley look to him.
He does. He really does. A little bit smaller stature in terms of height, but yes, I mean he's built like a brick house. But he's able to move very well,
right?
And do kind of some top rope action if you really needed to.
Yeah.
But that was a fun match to watch right there to kick things off right away. I think the stealer of that show happened before a match even started. It was the Johnny Gargano match. Their opponents were introduced. SoCal Val was there, so you're a big TNA or Ring of Honor fan. Now, she was part of that stable that came out beforehand. And then Johnny came out with his tag team partner. His tag team partner's nickname is All Night. And so he came out to the tune of All Night Long by Lionel Richie and sang the whole thing, going through the crowd with the microphone. You want to get an audience going, you just go ahead and sing Lionel Richie at an independent show. That was an experience in itself. I mean, I know I was singing along. I think you were too, Glenn. I think I caught you singing All Night Long.
A little bit. I think it went a little bit too long, but
oh yeah, I mean that's a 3.5 minute song.
It went a little bit too long. I kind of got bored with it, but I mean it was nice to get the crowd going. I mean that's
the crowd a couple times during the match. The crowd did sing.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun. The whole event itself. We saw 7 matches during the course of that event. There for like 3 hours.
Yeah, it was.
Chris Hero was on there.
Yeah, it was. Chris Hero has let himself go. I mean, I can't say anything myself, but that guy used to be one of the top indie guys and going to NXT and being part of WWE, and they let him go. And after that, I mean, he's still a violent person. Hopefully, he doesn't listen to this and come after me, but the guy can still wrestle very well. It's just sad that
he can. Yeah,
it is just sad that hopefully he can get back with WWE because that guy he's a beast, but he was there. It was a great show, and it was great to see hang out with Johnny and talk with him, Gargano, and talk with him because he is from the Cleveland area and we've been on the show. So it was nice to see him. So that was a nice show to kind of waste a few hours on Friday, and then we came back here, hung out, and what did we do Friday night? What was Friday night? We went to the casino around here for dinner.
Oh, we did. We sure did.
You're not going to spend much time on that, but it was...
Well, that was Thursday night. We did the casino.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah. Friday night, we just kind of hung out afterwards and made our rounds, saw who was here. Friday night, got to talk to Animal.
Yes.
From the Legion of Doom, or Road Warriors. He was here. I do kind of have... I know somebody who is an in-law to his son. So I got to chat with him for a little while. That was really cool for me, and that was one of my favorite tag teams growing up and everything. And then that was also your Devon Dudley moment.
Yes.
Friday evening, Glenn.
I had to, Devon was walking around the lobby, and he was saying hi to everybody, and I had to yell testify at him. And he laughed, and he was annoyed.
And then you got your picture.
And then I got my picture with him. I got a picture with Devon. So that was great. And then we moved on to Saturday, which is a busy day for us.
Yeah.
Went over to Access and got some interviews, and we're going to play some interviews, 2 of those interviews for you here shortly, sponsored by Weber Grill. We had that, and then we went to, I went out to the WWE hotel and hung out with some friends I had. Hung out with Jerry Lawler, Ziggler, but also on Friday night was the Ziggler thing.
I was just going to say.
How do we forget about that?
Ziggler. Yeah, we headed down to downtown San Jose, and Dolph Ziggler was performing. He had an improv show put together. It was Dolph Ziggler, John Morrison, and Dolph's brother, Ryan, all a part of the show, along with some improv performers. And they put on like an hour and a half show there, all improv, comedy. Good time there. All the faces, some fun folks showing up. We had Rusev and Lana came in, made an appearance there, watching the show. Damian Sandow was there.
Zach Ryder.
Little Nate,
yes.
Charles Robinson was there in the house. It was a fun show, some of the performers did some pretty good impersonations. John Morrison and Dolph were funny. Ryan was funny. They told some background stories, too, which was pretty cool. During it, asking for ideas for certain improv sets, and then they kind of did a story about each one. We got a background or a backstage view into WrestleMania 27, the tag match that they took part in. Ziggler, Morrison, and the ladies. Snooki was on that one. And the guys, I think that was a funny story. Morrison and Ziggler basically sitting there telling us how because the match before went long, which was Taker Triple H, and they were told right before they went out in gorilla position, hey, can you guys do this? Can you wrap it up in about 2 to 3 minutes? And they go, yeah, sure. So they went over and said, okay, we got to get rid of all these spots, blah, blah, blah. They went out there, and basically the girls took over and put on a 12-minute match, and the guys got yelled at afterwards.
And so that was nice to see that, and I know Ziggler's been doing stand-up for a while, and be able to see him do some comedy. It was okay. And I talked to Ziggler on Saturday at the hotel, and I talked to him for a little bit, and he said, I told him, like, hey, you did a nice job trying to steer yourself away from moments to where you probably, if you would have said the wrong thing, would have gotten yourself in trouble.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So he's like, yeah, well, I was like, I had to say something. So it was nice to see him out of his element a little bit, and with his brother. And also with Morrison. They put on 2 shows when we went to the late show. So that was pretty fun to do that. And then Saturday went to Access, and Saturday was a busy day for us, experiencing Access. And before we get into the interviews, just overall with Access, I think we were there at the perfect time because they have if you haven't been to Access before, and it's a truly awesome experience because it's like a MLB fan fest, for baseball when they have the All-Star game. It's a NBA fan fest. It's a fan fest for wrestling fans, and they have a whole convention center floor. They have a superstore. They have autograph signings. They have different podiums. They have memorabilia out there for people to look at, take photos of. They have the Elimination Chamber was there. You can take a photo in there. But they also have the NXT ring and a mini little setup there.
Yeah.
And they have people come out and do matches NXT, maybe people that aren't on the NXT program, but they are in developmental, to come out and perform in front of fans. But they also, and they don't promote this, they don't tell you when these guys are going to come out. And I think we're there at the perfect time when Roman Reigns came out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they had Bray Wyatt, and they both talked to the crowd. Bray, who is a villain, was more of a face with everybody, asking questions. He was a crowd favorite.
Oh, that crowd loved him.
And with Roman, who is technically a good guy,
crowd did not love him.
they booed him out the building. So it was very interesting, but it was nice to see that. And then it was our introduction to Cleveland's own Dana Brooke,
yes,
who is in NXT. I don't think she's made a TV appearance yet. If she has, she's not in any major storylines, but she is in developmental, and she's 26 and from Seven Hills, Ohio, and had a chance to talk to her on Saturday night at the WWE Hotel and hang out with her, so that was nice. But we saw her at Access, and she actually wrestled
Charlotte,
probably the future of the Divas division, aside Sasha Banks, and that's Charlotte Flair. So She had a really good match with her, so that was real nice. And then did our interviews.
Yeah.
So let's jump into it. We're going to play 2 today on this show, and then we're going to play 2 for you for our WrestleMania Raw recap. So here are our interviews. First one's going to be with Mike "The Miz" Manzanin at Cleveland's Own, a good friend of the program, The Miz. We talk about Cleveland being represented at WrestleMania. And we also talk about, you asked him a question, how would Mizdow and Miz be?
Yeah, or Cleveland sports.
Yeah. And so we talked with him, and then we're going to play our interview with Bo Dallas. And he has some inspirational words for Cleveland sports.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and again, these interviews brought to you by Weber Grills. Join the Weber Nation community where you can share stories, recipes, photos, and participate in blogs. Go to Weber.com, the heart of Weber and a hub of Weber love.
So here is The Miz and Bo Dallas right here on the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show.
Awesome! I came to play. There's a price to pay. Time for you to get down on your knees.
All right, we are here at Access with Mike "The Miz" Manzanin, Cleveland's Own, a man that we named our podcast, your tagline, This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Mike, you're from Cleveland, obviously. Dolph Ziggler from Cleveland. This has a Cleveland flavor, WrestleMania. You're both you guys competing at WrestleMania. Has to be big for not only for the city, but also for your hometown.
Well, the best part about it is, I bring championships to cities. It's just something that I do. LeBron hasn't brought it. Johnny Manziel didn't bring it. Kipnis hasn't bringing it. But The Miz is bringing championships to Cleveland. I'm bringing the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy to Cleveland and Hollywood, because Hollywood is my true home right now. Obviously, I'm from Cleveland, born there and everything like that. But Ziggler hopefully brings the Intercontinental title. We bring 2 titles there.
Miz, you love Cleveland sports. Let's try to keep like a Cleveland sports theme here. Who would be in Cleveland sports, Mike the Miz, and a Damian Sandow following you around all the time?
Who would what?
Who would be a comparable Miz and Mizdow situation in Cleveland sports?
Well, I would say LeBron is obviously the biggest star in Cleveland, or Johnny is the biggest star. So I think them 2 together would be the Miz and Mizdow of Cleveland.
All right.
Johnny would obviously be the Mizdow because Johnny needs to be a personal assistant right now. But hopefully he gets his stuff together and comes out of rehab and really blows it out of the water. And we hope he is this franchise player that we know he can be.
We've been asking around every superstar what their memorable moment of WrestleMania is. I have to ask you. Yours is probably your own. WrestleMania 27, winning the main event, defeating John Cena, and retaining your title.
I always win at WrestleMania. It's just something that happens all the time. I've won the tag team titles, the Intercontinental title, and I've won the WWE Championship. And the best one I have is WrestleMania 27, retaining the title not once but twice, creating history, and you just can't beat that.
Thank you, Miz.
Sure, man.
Awesome wrestling show for CLD Sound. We are joined now by Bo Dallas, a man who's inspired all of us to believe. And tomorrow, Bo, rumor has it you are going to be in a battle royal. One of the things that you've had success for previously on NXT. Are you going to believe in yourself and maybe have your first big WrestleMania moment?
I believe in that fully, and I can't wait to the battle royal because this is, as you said, I've had prior times in battle royals and excelled at them, and I've been looking forward to this. Been out injured, coming back, and this is my time to shine. So I'm believing that I'm going to make the most out of this. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. So, yeah, it is. It's harder than I thought.
Now your bloodline runs deep in WWE. You might have a relation to a guy that's taken on a dead man. You might have a dad that's into the tax business. I mean, it must be cool to have that kind of experience in the family.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It really is, and I'm happy for my father's success, and we are looked at as completely opposites, and It's cool. It's really cool, though. We both stepped into this industry, and we both took our own directions and made our own.
Could we see, maybe in the future, you joining the Wyatt family, or maybe him leaving?
Anything is possible, especially in the WWE. So you never know what's going to be around the next corner. So it's a possibility, and nothing's impossible.
All right, we have a fun question because we are from Cleveland. We haven't won a championship since 1964 in sports. If you could give the sports teams your best inspirational, quick speech to believe, what would it be?
Okay, everybody gets knocked down. Everybody's out at some point. There's nobody that's never been down. And you just got to take this moment, seize it, and realize that anything in the world is possible, and it only takes one thing, and that is believing in yourself.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you.
I want to give a special shout-out to WBPR people who have done a great job with not only us and giving these interviews for us, but also with the international media that comes to WrestleMania. I'm sure it's a big process of getting people interviews and getting the superstars interviews. So a shout out to Joe Villa from WBPR and doing a great job. And he's been able to get us some interviews with our show and also with me in previous years. And he's just been a great contact to have. So shout out to Joe, who also I know listens to the program. A shout out to him. So thank you, Joe, for the interviews. And all interviews today are sponsored by Weber Grill and Weber Grill Restaurants. Enjoy the flavors of charcoal grilling all year long at Weber Grill Restaurants. Stop in one of our 4 Midwest locations in Chicago and Indianapolis. You visit WeberGrillRestaurant.com for addresses and directions and sign up for the new Grill Club where you can earn great loyalty rewards. So make sure you check out WeberGrillRestaurant.com and also Weber.com for more information for our sponsor who was able to sponsor our interview portions of the show right here on the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show here on CLE Sound. So we did our interviews, we walked around Access, and then
don't forget, I want to throw this out there. We saw some impersonations at Access. I forgot all about that. Remember?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, they're all right.
I will say this. I had one moment this weekend where I was disappointed in some fans, and what this was they let people, 4 kids, 4 adults, do impressions of their favorite wrestlers. A guy did an excellent Dusty Rhodes. He won for the adults. And then the kids came up, and of course some kid wanted to be John Cena. Guys, it was a kid. They played John Cena's music, and everybody's chanting, John Cena sucks, and booing to a little 7-year-old boy. That was a little much. But other than that, it was an amusing experience. And one young lady, though, in the adult section did get a little carried away, being AJ Lee.
Yes, like I said, that was more for the marks that are ridiculous. But it was okay. But then, so we left Access, and you and I split up. You did your thing, and I did mine. I went to the WB Hotel, hung out with some friends. I was more of the hanging out with the wrestlers, and you were hanging out with the fans.
I was a man amongst the people.
And I was pulling a Ric Flair and doing my thing.
No eye contact with Glenn Moore, folks.
And being at the hotel and being able to in there and hanging out with a good buddy who's from the Cleveland area is you see all the wrestlers come walking through, and they're hanging with their families. There's just more other side of these guys that you don't see. That they are performers, but they also have their families, and they have their they have their parents here, their family, their sons, daughters, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends. They're all here as well. But it was nice to be at the bar area and talking to Ziggler, talking to the big guy Ryback, and it's more relaxed because everybody who's in there, there's no fans really in there unless you got a room in the hotel, which are very few. But it's more relaxed. These guys are more themselves. Ziggler is having fun and able to hang out with Dana Brooke from Cleveland, to hang out with her as well. And then hung out with Jerry the King Lawler and talked with him. And with Jerry, who's been on the show before, he likes to talk Indians baseball more than anything. So we talked Indians more than wrestling with him, and he doesn't like talking wrestling when he's not supposed to. So we talked some sports with him, and that was great. So it was nice to be in the hotel and see everybody walk through. Flair walked through. Brett the Hitman Hart got the chance to take a picture with him. So it was nice to see all these different people. And then you, sir, you're with the people. You were with the common folk.
I am the people's champ of the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. You are like, well, I can't give away WrestleMania spoilers. We'll talk about it at the show. But I was out there with the folks. When we split up kind of like at the hotel, there were, people waiting outside the hotel trying to get a glimpse of their favorite superstars. when you went there to hang out, which was kind of nice. I will say Charlotte came over, took some pictures, some autographs. That was pretty cool to see. And Corporate Kane doing what's best for business. And he even went over, took some pictures, signed some autographs, which was cool. And it was interesting to see the people all going over there. At some aspects, I saw some families there, and sometimes I swear the parents were more excited than the kids. I saw some people pulling their kids and running with strollers to get a glimpse of folks. That was amusing. But then Saturday night, yes, I have a group of friends. We always get together, WrestleMania, and we headed out to the bars, checked everything out, and a lot of wrestling fans. WrestleMania brings out, while it's a time for the wrestlers to relax because they're here kind of for a week and all in one place for 1 week, which is a rarity for them, of course, during the course of the year, you get fans from all over the place, all over the world, and they meet each other for the first time. I was at one bar, and all of these fans started a dance circle for whatever reason, and some were doing impressions of the wrestlers inside it and dancing. Another bar, we're walking by, and everybody's chanting yes outside. So it was fun, asked some people, had some conversations. What were they looking forward to the most? A lot of people wanting to see The Undertaker return, wondering if this was going to, in fact, be his last match, wondering what he was going to look like. Fans looking forward to the championship match, seeing, does Seth Rollins cash in? Is Roman Reigns really going to win? So it was cool, but they get rowdy. They definitely get rowdy. Much like New Orleans last year, Glenn, you remember people having fake matches on the street? That did happen. There was a bar that had an outdoor patio. Saw a fake match going on out there again. Guys dropping people's elbow on each other. Quite amusing. The international fans, I think, are just the best. I can't tell you how many times I got confused when I heard somebody saying holiday, and I thought, there's no holiday happening right now. And then you realize that they're from Europe, and they're just talking about vacation. But a good time, nonetheless.
The one thing I forgot to mention is Saturday morning here at WrestleCon.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to – there was one – I texted you this 2 weeks before we left. And there was one goal that I had during WrestleMania weekend was to get a picture with a certain somebody that my father resembles and that I was been a fan of since I was a kid, watched, grown up. He was on TV shows, Boy Meets World. The man they call Vader. Vader is a guy that I've always loved watching old matches. The WWE Network is great to watch Vader matches, and he was here for WrestleCon, signing autographs Friday and Saturday. I was able to get a ticket. You got to get into WrestleCon and then buy a Vader autograph. I don't care. It's Vader. I was doing it. So I get there. Vader's not there yet. I'm freaking out because there was some kind of rumor that he left early the day before, and I was like, man, if I miss Vader, I'm going to be one salty MFer. So I'm walking around. I see Cole Cabana. Say hi to Cole Cabana. He had a show last month, so it was great to talk to him. Just walking around, Scott Steiner's doing photos, he's doing autographs, and then I see the man they call Vader walk up, still looking like a mammoth, still looking strong like bull. Put his mask on, and there's a long line for him. Got my photo with him, told him how I appreciate what he's done for the business, and he looked at me and looked like he really generally, usually guys don't care. Usually guys say, okay, thanks, appreciate it, but it looked like he really cared about what I was saying. Got a photo with Vader, and my weekend, I could have went home. I could have went home on Saturday, and it would have been...
that was your WrestleMania.
Yes, my weekend would have been complete. So it was nice to see Vader, still in decent shape, but this WrestleCon can also bring out the sad side of professional wrestling. Guys that are once at the top, guys that are once well-known, sitting at tables by themselves, hoping that someone recognized them. Axe and Smash won that demolition, that they were well-known, they had a nice run, and they were sitting there by themselves. They had a couple of kids dressed like them come up, but other than that, there was no line for them. A guy named Oscar from Men on a Mission
I forgot
sitting
about
by
Oscar,
himself,
yes. The rapper.
hoping for an autograph. It's Eric Bischoff is there. His line was long, but like other guys that were at the top that might not have known, Carlito by himself with Chris Masters. I mean, it's kind of depressing.
Awesome. I loved Carlito. Yeah, well, but It depends on how you look at it, I suppose. Look, if you have the money and you're not going to do access, but you were a fan of wrestling for some time, and you've got a lot of greats. I know WWE has the Legends and the Legends contract, but there's always guys you wonder what happened to them, and you had some personal favorites. Honestly, WrestleCon, if you've got the money and you're going to go to WrestleMania next year, look it up, spend it, because sure, as you said, there are some folks there who it kind of looks sad or whatnot. There's not a lot of people in the line, but it's still.
Are you getting paid for this spot?
No,
are we getting paid for this?
But you just think about the names that were there. DDP, Bret Hart was here, Ric Flair was here.
Yeah, for $100 for an autograph.
Disco Inferno was here. That's why I said if you have the money, all these names, huge names, were here. Mick Foley was here with his daughter Noelle. Lita was here. So tons of names. The list goes on and on. Scott Steiner.
My advice
awesome thing to do if you have the money.
If you have the money, I would say save that $100 and just go to the hotel and hope that they walk out. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to spend $100.
So the hotel that WrestleCon's at.
Either that or the whole WB hotel where some of these guys are staying too. That Hart's staying there, Flair, everybody's staying there. The main guys in Lita and all those are staying at the WB hotel. So I would not pay $100. I'm sorry, I would not pay. I think it's a little bit overpriced. And you pick autograph or a photo. I mean, maybe both would be okay, but I think it's a little bit overpriced. But that's just me.
Oh, everything's overpriced this weekend.
Yeah,
that's definitely one thing that you could say. Everybody's got to make their money. But, again, if you have the money and this is your once-in-a-lifetime experience, you're going to have one WrestleMania trip, yeah, sure, I could see going to WrestleCon. I didn't spend money on it, but I'm okay with it.
Just hope that the hotel is better next year.
Yeah.
Much better. And with working internet.
The next day, Sunday, we headed to WrestleMania. Glenn, you got to go with the friends and family of superstars. I went with the friends of this superstar, myself. Awesome experience leading up to it. Tons of people, I gotta say. Levi Stadium, huge stadium, really cool, new, state-of-the-art and everything, doing the whole scan phoning thing for tickets. Huge crowd. Took me probably, 25 minutes just to get into the stadium. But unlike any other, always at WrestleMania, people are dressed up as characters, ready to rock and roll, and they certainly were ready for a huge event in WrestleMania 31 at Levi Stadium.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great event. I had the opportunity to get floor seats, so it was nice to be that close. I was one row away from getting bringing home a chair. I was really looking forward to doing it. I gladly would have checked that for $25, but not able to do it. My quest for a WrestleMania chair continues. But yeah, like I said, we're going to recap WrestleMania and Raw in our next show, but it was nice to the atmosphere around here and around to the community. And, we took a lot of Uber and Lyft rides, and everybody was saying how busy it was. And because of the weekend, it brings a ton of money into the city. It tends to bring a ton of money into the economy. It's great because people from all over the world come here. And it's great for us because I've never been here before. And, I've experienced the last 4 WrestleManias and to cities that I'd never been to before with Miami. Well, I've been in New York before, New Orleans, and now San Jose. And then next year it's going to be Dallas. So looking forward to that. But yeah, it brings wrestling fans together for a weekend. It's like one big party. And there's so many other things going on outside of WBE with the indie shows, with WrestleCon, with different conventions, the different other indie shows that there's a lot of that. You're going to be busy for 4 or 5 days. You're not just going to be waiting for WrestleMania. There are different options to see professional wrestling on different scales, whether there's 100 people in the crowd to now WrestleMania having 80,000 people in the crowd. There's something for everybody. And if you have the money, like Steve said, please do not spend your last $100 on a Ric Flair autograph. Please do not do that. But if you have the extra money to do it and stand in line for an autograph, then I would say go ahead, but there's plenty of options.
Yeah, definitely
for you.
Save up the money. Save your money in general, depending on how long your trip is going to be. So much stuff to do. You could be a little bit wiser and get a lot in for fewer dollars, or you can spend the money. You can do the WrestleCon kind of things. But either way, you need to make sure you come with a solid budget to have fun throughout the weekend, just because there is so much to really take in if you are a real wrestling fan, just between indie shows and everything else. Certainly a lot to do.
All right. we're going to come back later this week, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to have our WrestleMania Raw show recapping what happened at WrestleMania, going over our predictions, what happened, who came back, who didn't come back. Also, we'll recap what happens tonight on Raw, what happens with the show, because the Monday Night after Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania is always a unique experience with the UK crowd in full effect. And it's a smaller arena, more intimate, and the crowd is very, very rowdy. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at Raw. So we'll come back, and then on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever the show gets up for you guys to listen to, this is Awesome Wrestling Show, we're going to have interviews with Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, and also we'll have Heath Slater.
The one-man band.
One-man band, baby. He loved my one-man band impersonation. But the highlight of the weekend, to me, not only meaning Vader, is standing behind Ron Simmons and yelling, "Damn!" to Ron Simmons. And then he turns around and looks at me and says it right back. That was great, but that's just a little highlight of the
He gave you the damn.
weekend.
Yeah.
He gave me his damn here. So we'll come back there this week. We'll recap the shows, recap what happened. Heath Slater, Mark Henry on the show as well. Thank you to WB PR for letting us come into Access and experience it, and also get some interviews. Thanks to the Superstars for giving us their time as well. And we thank you guys for listening, because without you, we would not be able to be out here to experience WrestleMania and give you some interviews and give you the whole experience. Because, like I said, if you're a wrestling fan, if you can make it out to one WrestleMania in your lifetime, it's worth the trip, it's worth the money, and it's worth being out here, and it's worth experiencing, because, like I said, you're going to be busy not only on Sunday and Monday if you go to Raw and WrestleMania, but you can be busy from Wednesday all the way up till Tuesday. So it's a whole week of festivities around the area, and it's going to keep you busy. And I'm sure next year in Dallas, with 100,000 people packing AT&T Stadium, it's going to be a zoo around that area for the week. So, like I said, the experience is worth the money if you have it. And if you make it once in your lifetime, it's something you'll never forget. And if you can share it with your friends, with your family, with your son, with your daughter, do it, because it's going to be 4 or 5 days that you'll never, ever forget. So, Steve, any final thoughts?
No, blast. It's my 5th year in a row doing this. Happy to do it for CLE Sound this year, and getting to experience it on a different level for This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Another huge shout out to Weber Grills for helping us out, sponsoring our interviews today. Yeah, fun weekend. Got to hang out with all my buds and experience it all together. Great time.
All right, we'll catch you guys later this week for a WrestleMania and Raw recap. Go back, listen to our other wrestler interviews. We have Seth Rollins, the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, was a guest on our show a few months back. So go back, listen to that interview with him. Jerry the King Lawler, EC3, Colt Cabana, a whole slew of other guests are on our list that you guys can go back and enjoy. I think next week we'll post our Too Cold Scorpio interview as well. So we have that one in the back pocket. So plenty of interviews to come, plenty of interviews to go back and go on iTunes, go on CLE Sound, subscribe, rate, comment, let us know how you feel of the show, and always follow us on Twitter at Glenmore CLE.
The Steve Guy.
And also make sure you go to CLEsound.com for not only for our show, but for all the shows on the network. If there is a different interest that you have, I'm sure there's a show for it here on CLEsound.com. And we'll see you guys there this week for our WrestleMania and Raw recap right here. This is Awesome Wrestling Show.